Washington's dairy and fruit and vegetable processor beneficiaries met legislative objectives and saw job and wage increases exceeding food manufacturing and state averages from 2015 through 2020.
Seafood processor beneficiaries didn't achieve the objectives, with declines in both employment and wages. The preferences reduced effective tax rates for all three industries, but they're still higher than neighboring competitor states. Hi, I'm Pete Van Morsel.
And I'm Dana Lynn, and we're staff with Washington's JLARC. We reviewed B&O tax preferences for three food processing industries: dairy product manufacturers, fruit and vegetable manufacturers, which includes wineries, and seafood product processors. Since 2006, all three industries have been exempt from B&O tax on their manufacturing and certain sales activities. These exemptions are set to expire July 1, 2025. After that, the businesses will pay a 0.138% preferential B&O tax rate, about a third the general rate. The preferential rate for dairy processors is set to expire in 2036. The preferential rates for fruit and vegetable and seafood processors don't expire. In 2015, the legislature stated the preferences were intended to give tax relief to Washington food processors and to create and retain jobs. From 2015 to 2020, we found that beneficiaries of the dairy preferences saw job growth of 27%, well above employment growth for Washington food manufacturing and statewide averages. Wages for dairy beneficiary employees also increased at a faster rate than for food manufacturers and statewide averages. Beneficiaries of the fruit and vegetable preference saw a 23% employment increase. Wages for beneficiary employees also increased by 69%, surpassing statewide and food manufacturing averages. Employment at seafood beneficiaries declined 10%. The broader seafood processing industry saw an even larger decrease. This contrasts with growth in food manufacturing and in statewide employment. Wages also decreased for seafood beneficiaries, while average wages for statewide and food manufacturers increased.
We hired a tax accounting consultant to conduct a comparative tax rate analysis for the three processing industries, comparing Washington with Oregon, Idaho, and California. Alaska was included in the seafood analysis. The analysis compares estimated tax burdens for small and large hypothetical firms that invest in new facilities in Washington and the other states. It compares the impact of Washington's tax incentives with incentives provided by the other states. The consultants concluded that Washington's total state and local effective tax rates are highest among the neighboring states for both small and large firms in all three industries, both before the incentives are applied as well as after. Washington's relatively higher sales tax rate, which applies to facility construction and maintenance, factored into these results. The legislative auditor recommends the legislature continue and clarify the preferences for the dairy processors and food processors, noting they are meeting the objective to provide tax relief and create and retain industry jobs. To facilitate future reviews, the legislature should clarify its expectations for job and wage growth and determine the level of tax relief needed to meet those expectations.
Finally, the legislative auditor recommends the legislature review and clarify the preferences for seafood processors because they're meeting just one of two objectives. They do provide tax relief, but beneficiary jobs have declined and their employee wages have decreased. It's unclear why more businesses aren't using the preferences or what the legislature's expectations are for the industry's jobs and wages. Check out our website for this full report and other tax preference reviews.